We'll move quickly on into our next session, which is hosted by Richard Benwell from SquaredUp, and we also have Anthony Ashmead joining us from Arup. So let's get everyone up on stage and let's hear all about SquaredUp, Richard.
All right, thanks, Adam. Thanks, Bruce, and welcome, Ash, as well. I know I've only got 20 minutes squeezed in between a good panel discussion and Microsoft getting back up on stage to talk about SCOM-MI. So hopefully a packed session, and I'll get going. So the title of the talk is SCOM Dashboards Just Got Supercharged Again. Hopefully most of you will know SquaredUp. We've been supercharging SCOM since 2011. Over the years, the product's been obviously getting better and better. Some nice things have been said about us, and hopefully seen as a must-have for SCOM. SquaredUp Dashboard Service 6.2 hits GA today, and it's better than ever. So go join the club at ds.squaredup.com. And if you needed any more incentive at the end of the presentation, I'll be just announcing a special offer for SCOMathon attendees. So what more does SCOM need if we've got this far? Well, it's not a problem with SCOM itself, but it's a problem with the single pane of glass needing to go broader than what SCOM can manage. SCOM's always been a fantastic single pane of glass for the enterprise infrastructure environment. We've obviously got the Microsoft stack totally covered with Microsoft management packs. You can integrate with third-party platforms, but obviously that does involve vendor management packs, and your business may have different opinions on budget available for that. You can develop those custom management packs for server-based applications, but that does require some expertise. And then there's already been a little bit of a gap within the infrastructure space with other tools like integrating with SolarWinds that really, many SCOM customers do have alongside SCOM for their network monitoring, Cisco DNA, Nagios perhaps for Linux monitoring if you're not using SCOM. And there've been just some gaps in what SCOM can do. As we hit a more modern sort of IT landscape, we also then hit those SCOM limits even further. So as well as those sort of current limits within infrastructure, when we start looking at having to monitor cloud resources and containerized workloads, integrating obviously with Azure, but perhaps AWS and GCP in your environment as well, perhaps Prometheus for telemetry for those containers, SCOM's hitting a limit. If we then start to look at those APM tools and code level observability, so perhaps Dynatrace, Elastic Splunk, there's a lot of tools like that in our customers' environments. Again, it doesn't make sense to pull that all into SCOM and then just have one place to go for that data. And finally, DevOps. So your dev teams within your organization are probably starting to adopt DevOps practices. That means automation, source control, and deploying into production more regularly, and your business will start to need insight into those processes and tooling. So how do we get a visibility across all of this? And that single pane of glass question, is everything healthy? Where is the problem? Where do I go for additional insights? And really in that modern IT landscape, having gone well beyond just that infrastructure space, we find there are too many tools, too many silos around those tools, and just then too many blind spots. So this really is where SCOM has, I think, sort of hit its limits. A fantastic single pane of glass on-prem, but now our customers are struggling to continue to deliver that single pane of glass for their business. And that problem is exactly what we've been working to solve at SquaredUp over the last few years. So say hello to SquaredUp Cloud, our next-gen single pane of glass built from the ground up, but with all of our experience and knowledge from building those dashboards on top of SCOM and working with SCOM itself. So a lot of familiar features have made its way into SquaredUp Cloud from SCOM. SquaredUp Cloud is designed for SCOM. Just to make that super clear, you can plug into SCOM, you can plug into SCOM-MI, you can have both alongside each other, and you'll get the sort of the full integration. It does work nicely alongside Dashboard Server, so you can always use Dashboard Server for more detailed drill downs into your SCOM environment, but you can also just surface that information directly into SquaredUp Cloud. It's not just designed for SCOM. So SquaredUp Cloud is an independent platform, a cloud-based platform that can then plug into all of your other tools directly. So we can plug into VMware, we can plug into SolarWinds, we can plug into Nagios without the need for you to have to pull that information into SCOM via third-party management packs. We also plug into, obviously, your cloud native tools, so Azure Monitor, KQL, as well as AWS and GCP, and not just performance monitoring, but billing as well, so you can get cost reporting from your cloud resources. We plug into those APM tools so you can surface application insights alongside infrastructure insights, and crucially plug into those DevOps tools as well. We have native support for PowerShell in SquaredUp Cloud. So when it comes to extensibility, you can just script anything you want in PowerShell and bring additional data into SquaredUp Cloud dashboards. And really, the purpose is to make sure SquaredUp Cloud can sit on every tool you use, both now and in the future. So a future-proofed single pane of glass. We've got 70 plus plugins, plus that PowerShell and JavaScript and Web API extensibility. So total visibility wherever, whatever your workloads are. So before I dive into a demo, I really want to try and get into a live demo, as we like to do at SquaredUp. I just wanted to put what I've just said there in slides into sort of a real world context. And this is why I've got Ash on the call with me, Head of Enterprise DevOps at Arup, and really has been on that journey from working just with SCOM, and its sort of core capability extending out to infrastructure monitoring and then to enterprise DevOps. So I wanted to invite Ash here to join the discussion, and I put some slides together for Ash to talk us through. But Ash, it'd be great just for you to introduce yourself briefly and talk about your personal journey at Arup.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me okay? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm Anthony Ashmead, or Ash as Rich says. I've been at Arup now for about 8 years. Started basically with a role for enterprise monitoring as a SCOM lead. I've been working with SCOM since about 2007. After many years of working with operational support roles since the mid-90s.
Ash, I did annotate the slides for you just to give you a bit of context.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, cool. Yeah, you can see there, I've got lost quite a bit of hair since joining Arup 8 years ago. So and also wear these things called specs now because I'm going a bit blind. But yeah, so I mean the SCOM lead role was really brought into Arup around 2016 to redesign basically and fix all the issues with SCOM. In its current role as it was kind of UK IMEA core infrastructure for the data centers. After a new deployment, SCOM 2016, horrible migration. And establishing SCOM then as the core global tool. My role in the company's requirements obviously changed, and so the need for a kind of more enterprise monitoring approach. This was due to us kind of beginning our global migrations, move towards cloud into Azure. So it also meant a broader landscape basically for what we needed to monitor. My role now has kind of grown into leading the enterprise DevOps strategy. So I'm now the enterprise DevOps platforms team lead. So we look to provide guidance, implementation of DevOps frameworks, policies, patterns, tooling, etc., but at an organizational level. So it's been driven mainly by the needs of the business to rely on digital technology group for their operational support and delivery. I mean, the main focus is going to basically allow the developers to innovate. And the existing enterprise monitoring team that I led and now kind of lead multiple teams is a core part of this from our perspective.
Yeah, you mentioned the word platform there when describing that enterprise DevOps role, and that really is a natural evolution of what we see sort of many enterprise monitoring teams as our customers do, which is provide still effectively that operational support, right? But in that sense of a platform, not now just for running that infrastructure, but a broader platform now for developing modern software applications.
Yeah, for the full life cycle of the products, really. It's requiring observability and monitoring. Yeah.
Fantastic. We have Azure there in the enterprise monitoring section, because I know you were starting to adopt Azure Monitor and App Insights, but I guess that was the point at which you were starting to evaluate your tooling strategy. Like what is your monitoring tool? Is it still SCOM? Do you switch to another tool? Do you want to talk us through just the decision making there? Yeah,
sure. So obviously, as part of that enterprise monitoring strategy, the first thing really to look at was the landscape and the current tooling we had across the company. As it says on the slide, these were varied, very siloed in regional teams, some of them even down to office-based user ones, not even regional. So we basically decided we need to review all these existing tools globally, looked at what native vendor tools we had. Some of these were best of breed, so the teams using these for their kind of day-to-day tasks were unlikely to change. In parallel, we ran proof of concepts with other vendors, ones that were kind of deeming themselves as a catch-all, as look at some open source options as well, things like Grafana. The outcome of all this basically was that the cost to replace SCOM as a kind of core tool was going to be a lot. The development required to replace it with an open source tool was just not worth it. So we kind of couple that with the fact that SCOM was still really the best of breed for what it did out of the box. We had the kind of integrations already there with the Azure management packs and etc. that we needed. The only issue really for us at that point was a visibility layer, to give us this kind of single pane of glass view, because the out of the box dashboards were kind of hard to configure and roll out on that global enterprise scale, which is why we chose to use SquaredUp.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and I think that point there that you were, sorry, I'm just switching slides here. You were looking at other tools, and often sorry, just I lost my space there. Often, we've seen within other customers them looking at replacing SCOM entirely, right? With a tool like Dynatrace often comes up a lot, or perhaps should we go all in with Azure Monitor? I think what's really nice about where you ended up was really recognizing that no one tool is going to solve it all. SCOM is absolutely best of breed, and so many customers have tried to replace SCOM, say with Dynatrace, and then come back and say, actually, we've just not got the visibility we had with SCOM. So I really love the fact that you've managed to retain SCOM, retain all of its good for, but sort of embrace these other tools when you need to. So do you want to just talk us through your journey with SquaredUp? Because it's been a long one, and I think it's been a nice story that we've evolved as a dashboarding tool, with our customers, as SCOM was it, back in 2016 when we were at Microsoft Ignite there, but sort of really now having to evolve beyond SCOM.
Yeah. So I bumped into you, I think, the first time at Ignite 2016, one of my first kind of freebie trips with Arup. And obviously was out there to try and look at, it was very cloud focused, that Ignite. So seeing you guys and what you were offering lodged in my brain, because 2019, when we needed to kind of roll this stuff out, re-engage with you guys, because realized that it was going to be the real kind of that visibility layer that we needed to put on. So we started with what's now SquaredUp DS, a dashboard server, with 10 users. Basically did a kind of live proof of value using this, to run it in the real world. Quickly moved through the gears, as you can see. This was down to basically the kind of global demand, the user base growing rapidly. And then we kind of had the need to further integrate with the other core platforms. Things like the AWS management pack were out of date, no longer being developed. SolarWinds MP was pretty much the same. We needed to integrate with VMware to get the alerting and metrics into the core platform. Cost of that, as we know, with VMware it was an issue because it's very expensive. AMX basically gave me the ability to do all of this, but it also kind of filled the gaps where we could no longer rely on, or didn't want to spend basically big on vendor management packs or do the custom work ourselves. So that kind of grew into that. We've done a lot of integrations using the AMX features, a lot of the enterprise application monitoring stuff that is kind of core to our service status for end users. So that EAM service status dashboards globally used, even outside of the digital technology group. We now use kind of SquaredUp Cloud. It's basically our default delivery for our development teams for their observability and monitoring. It allows us basically to give kind of multiple dashboard views to the digital services, business product teams, etc., to show them, the integration such as Azure DevOps, but as well as the ability basically for them to deploy the dashboards via Terraform modules, which you guys have worked closely with us with some of our development teams. So basically, if they release a new product feature or a new infrastructure as code component, that automatically gets rolled into the existing monitoring. So the monitoring is being deployed as code, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I love that. So the dashboards themselves and the monitoring, as we'll see, hopefully a demo, it's not just the dashboard, you can layer on the monitoring as well now. That is part of that DevOps lifecycle and deployed as part of an application deployment into prod. Awesome stuff. And I guess just to clarify, so EMX is a sort of our stepping stone from dashboard server and SCOM into cloud, allows you to roll up status from cloud back into SCOM. So if you're still really just depending entirely on SCOM for your sort of one place to go, that's EMX. And then actually that's where you started, but now breaking out to other teams who just don't touch SCOM at all, right? They're deploying onto AWS. They've got no.
They're going straight into AWS, but yeah, any kind of business criticality layer we need from that stuff that's deploying direct for SquaredUp Cloud, we use EAMX to pull that back in and to feature that and sort of put it up, surface it to the service desk teams via DS.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ash. I know I'm sort of short of time. We're running over a little bit, so I'll just jump into a demo, hopefully try and cover everything that actually just Ash has talked about doing within Arup, just within our demo lab, and give you a taste of what SquaredUp Cloud can do. Let's just make sure I'm logged on. So here's SquaredUp Cloud. I'm in just an empty workspace at the moment. You can see no dashboards, no data sources. You'll be used to SquaredUp being very easy to use and getting data right out of the box. So you can see here we can plug into all of these tools. And just to be clear, we have a data mesh architecture. So when we're plugging into these tools, we're not sucking all this data into some other huge data warehouse behind the scenes. We're just integrating with those APIs and able to pull the data out on demand, just like we do with SCOM today. So we can plug into a lot of these different tools. If I look for SCOM, you'll see that actually just to plug in, very similar experience. Just enter the address of your management server via an on-prem agent. I already have SCOM installed, so I'm just going to add it into this workspace, and our plugins come with out-of-the-box dashboards, just like Dashboard Server does with SCOM. So that will just take a couple of seconds, but you'll see that once we plug into SCOM, as I say, there's no data ingestion. It's this data mesh approach, which means we can get actionable alerts straight out of the box in a dashboard, and a knock dashboard, very easy to put together yourself. But here's an example straight out of the box, giving you an overview of all of your alerts. So that's sort of familiar to hopefully many of us today using Dashboard Server on top of SCOM. The magic with SquaredUp Cloud is that we've done the same, but with 70 plus other tools. So here I can plug into VMware vCenter in a very similar manner. If I just add that in, what we'll see is dashboards being added into this environment, just plugging into vCenter and again, pulling that data in. Now, when we plug into SCOM, we can roll up all of your management pack data from SCOM. So if you already have one of the rich VMware management packs available for SCOM, that will flow through that SCOM integration. But instead, we can alternatively plug straight into vCenter and pull this information in. So here, for example, we see host status. Just sort of plugging in a few others just to give you a taste. So SolarWinds has always been a thorn in the SCOM admin side. Very, very difficult, sort of patchy solutions to integrate with SolarWinds Orion. SolarWinds is just a simple click away. So again, hitting those SolarWinds APIs, pulling this information in alongside any other information. And then just the last one, I keep on clicking the wrong button there. I'm just going to plug into Azure, just give you a sense of plugging into cloud-based data sources as well. So just plug into azure.net. I'll install the sample dashboards for that. And again, we can plug into either on-prem data sources or cloud data sources with SquaredUp Cloud. So that should take a couple of seconds and we'll see Azure dashboards being added into our workspace. So getting pretty busy now. Let's have a look. Storage, for example. We should see a pretty comprehensive dashboard of our Azure storage. And actually, there's in that last session there some talk of KQL. So this is actually using KQL queries to pull this information out of Azure Monitor. So you can see here that our workspace has got pretty busy. This is not how we actually expect the product to be used, that you're just piling everything into one space, because it gets hard to manage. And if you see here in a drop down, we actually have spaces for our different platforms and our different applications. And this is where we borrowed a concept from SCOM, and that's the health rollup. So we now have health rollup not just from SCOM, but across all of these tools that you can plug into. So getting to those red, amber, green dashboards for stakeholders. And I'll just finish off with a drill down, which is the other part of rollup. I can drill down into, for example, the sales application. I can see a roll-up of KPIs coming from our pingdom checks, for example. And I can also see a map of the roll-up. So, for example, I can expand out dependencies here, see the front-end dependency, scale it out to the app tier, all the way down to the database tier. And you can see here we're rolling up server health from a SQL server. And actually, if I drill down into this server, it is hosted in Azure. So although this monitoring initially was coming from SCOM, when I drill down to the SQL server, I can see all those metrics coming in from Azure Monitor. If I scroll down, I can also see all the alerts and metrics coming in from SCOM. I've got property information correlated between both SCOM and Azure in a single place here. And if I just pan out this map again, you can see here that we've correlated the objects from across SCOM, so things like the disk drive, with the objects in Azure, like the resource group that this is sitting in. And if I just expand out one of these monitors, so online critical, just come back up again, we get back up to our SCOMathon demo and our knock operator. So the knock operator has the ability to drill down and see exactly the context of this object and this alert within those applications. So very quick taste of SquaredUp Cloud. I'm just going to finish off with one last slide, if I may, which is a tried out slide. So if you need to just supercharge your SCOM dashboards, there's no need to go beyond SCOM, then download ds.squaredup.com, 30-day free trial and get going. If you want to just check out what SquaredUp Cloud can do, sign up at app.squaredup.com. That's the free tier that you can plug into cloud resources and just experiment. And obviously you can get both with the EMX. Want to learn more? Head over to our SCOMathon booth, drop us a line at sales@squaredup.com. And that offer, we are offering 20% off EMX. So the combination of dashboard server and a 3-user cloud license for all SCOMathon registration. So even if you're listening to this on replay, if you registered for SCOMathon, you're eligible for 20% off there. So contact our sales team about that. So that's it, purchased before the end of August. All right. Thanks very much, guys, for listening, and enjoy SCOMathon.